Welcome back to my channel where we're all about leveling up and learning how to financially thrive, not just survive. Because let's be real here, if you're in your 20s, you already know it's a struggle out there, especially when it comes to managing your finances. So today's video is different though, because we're gonna be talking about the money mistakes that could cost you thousands if you're not careful. Yes, that means that I'm sharing the big ones in my life I wish I avoided so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. I know money can get very overwhelming. Sometimes it feels like you need to work on Wall Street just to figure it all out, but trust me, it doesn't have to be complicated, and I'm here to spill all the tea and help you out in your financial journey. We're gonna break it down in a way that's easy to follow so you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did that cost me thousands of dollars. Before we dive in though, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're into videos like this. All right, so where do we even start? Even though I'm now running a full-time business teaching you how to financially thrive, I've definitely made my fair share of money mistakes. And let's be real here, I am not perfect. I will be continuously making mistakes as I go on throughout my life. That is what life is. But every one of those mistakes has taught me a valuable lesson that I'm excited to pass on to you. One of my life mantras is learn from your past failures, make them into your future successes. And so if that's shit that you're into, let's get right into it. All right, let's kick things off with one of the biggest mistakes I made early on, not tracking my money. I used to think budgeting was for people who were in serious debt or struggling with their finances. Why would I need to budget? I mean, I could just look at my bank statement, make a mental note of where my money is going. Yeah, I have money in that account. Okay, call it a day, right? No, that is not going to cut it if you're serious about growing your net worth and reaching your financial goals. Here's the deal. Everyone needs a budget. It doesn't matter if you're making $30,000 a year or $300,000 a year. The reason here is that the same money principles apply whether you're in the 1 comma, 2 comma, or even 3 comma club. But what kind of budget works for you? That's where you get to decide. And for me, I prefer a budget that I can personalize to my own lifestyle and needs. For example, I'm a big foodie. If I'm traveling for work or just for fun, I want to try new restaurants, cafes. I freaking love boba. If you never had it before, we need to share one. So I plan for all of that in my budget. When I grab my boba or hit up a new spot, I don't feel guilty because it's already accounted for. You might have different priorities though. Maybe you're all about investing in your hobbies or you love splurging on experiences. That's for you to figure out. The key here is that your budget should reflect what's important to you. If you need help getting started, check the link in the description for the budget template that I use. And trust me, knowing exactly where every dollar is going has been huge in helping me reach my financial goals. And if you don't budget, it's going to be 10 times harder to get ahead. And it's probably the feeling of why you're living paycheck to paycheck, if that happens to be you. Now, let's talk about budgeting styles. You've probably heard of the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to needs. I like to say 20% goes to wants and 30% goes to savings, but some people flip that around saying 30% goes to wants and 20% goes to savings. By the way, I've actually spoken about this on Good Morning America back in 2021. Cue the clip.
Having a financial degree, I started a blog a few years back, which really opened up the doors to social media and having allowed that TikTok following.
Yep, that's little fetus Taylor at 20 years old talking on Good Morning America. This is just going to show that whatever age you are, you can do it too. But I want to say, while it works for some, it does not work necessarily for everybody. Personally, I'm all about the zero-based budget, and what that means is you plan for every single dollar of your income to go somewhere, whether it's bills, savings, investing, or fun stuff. So nothing is just floating around or unaccounted for. Another thing to consider, What's your biggest expense? For most of us, it's housing, and that's okay, but the goal should be to keep this as low as possible. Maybe this means getting a roommate, moving back with your parents, if that's an option, bless your soul if it is, or looking for an apartment a little outside the city to save on rent. I know, you probably are thinking, but I want my own space, I want my own place, I want to decorate it, I love living in the heart of the city, and yeah, I get it. But if you're serious about leveling up your finances, especially in your 20s, you might need to get a little uncomfortable now to set yourself up for a better future. Ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice now that will get you ahead later? And that later just might be a few months from now, it could be a few years from now, it may be way later on down the road. These are questions that you should be asking yourself when you're looking at making financial decisions. This applies to so many things in life. I see it all the time. People on social media buying brand new cars just because their old one isn't as flashy or they want an upgrade. Even if you can afford it, ask yourself, do you need it? Will it really make a difference in your life? Now, this leads perfectly into the next big money mistake: increasing your spending as your income rises, otherwise known as lifestyle inflation. Your old car is probably still getting you from point A to point B just fine, right? I mean, when I come back and visit upstate New York, where I'm originally from, I currently don't have a car here and I have to borrow one of my dad's old work vans. And trust me, that thing looks horrendous. It's not the most comfortable driving from a public perspective, but hey, it gets me around, it does the job, it does what I need to do. Although people might think that, I don't know, it's definitely a beater car, but it gets me to point A to point B, and that's what really matters. This mindset of always needing the newest or best thing can hold you back financially. Just because you can upgrade doesn't mean you should. Like I said, I don't have a brand new car, even though I could buy one, because adding that big expense just doesn't make sense for me right now. More isn't always better when it comes to money. And I see people all the time, people making $150K a year, but still living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Well, number one, they're probably not using a budget to track their spending. And two, when their income increased, their expenses probably shot up too. That's the trap we call lifestyle inflation. And trust me, you do not want to fall into this trap. Now, don't get me wrong. It's super tempting to treat yourself when you get that raise or bonus. And listen, I'm all about celebrating those wins every once in a while. Like, I love a good shindig or good boba. But here's the thing. Treating yourself shouldn't mean taking on unnecessary liabilities. So what do I mean by liabilities here? Let's break it down. There's a huge difference between acquiring assets and acquiring liabilities. Assets are things that put money into your pocket, like investments or savings accounts that grow over time. Liabilities, on the other hand, are things that take money out of your pocket, like a car loan or credit card debt. For example, if you get that raise and immediately go out and buy a new car, you're adding a liability, monthly payments, higher insurance costs, the whole deal. But if your current car is working just fine, why take on that extra financial burden? Instead, use that raise to invest in assets, like putting more into your savings or paying off debt or contributing to your investment portfolio. And look, I've fallen into this trap before too. I've splurged on things without fully thinking them through, and most of the time I've regretted it later. But now that I have a little bit of a different mindset, it's easier to stay on track with my financial goals. One rule I like to live by: if you can't afford to buy something twice, you can't afford it once. Harsh, I know, but it's the truth. So how do you avoid lifestyle inflation? One key is to set savings goals for yourself and stick to them. Goal setting isn't just about dreaming about the future. It's making a clear plan for your money, right now. My mom, always growing up, told me piss poor planning leads to piss poor performance. For example, if I want to save $24,000 for a down payment on a townhouse in the next 2 years, I know that I need to set aside roughly $1,000 every single month. That's a solid, concrete goal, and it keeps me from blowing that money on things I don't need. Piss poor planning would look something like, I need $24,000 by the next 2 years and have no accountability on when you're going to save that money, how much you're going to save that money, if it's consistent or not. So when I'm excited about a big goal like that, I'm way less tempted to waste my money on unnecessary expenses. I already know where that $1,000 is going, and it's working for me, not the other way around. One thing I've learned is that I'm way more motivated to save when I have specific goals in mind. Saving for the sake of saving ain't fun, at least for me. But when I know that I'm working towards what I want, it's like a roadmap for my financial success. And if you don't have any short or long-term goals in place, now is the time to start. And here's how I like to break that down. The first is short-term goals, 3 to 6 months. These could be things like building an emergency fund or saving for a vacation. Midterm goals look like 1 to 2 years from now. These might include things like saving for a car or paying off a student loan. Long-term goals, 3 to 5 years plus. Think the bigger picture here, buying a home, starting a business, building up your investment portfolio. The key is to start setting goals that get you excited about saving and help you avoid the temptation to splurge every time your income increases. And one other tip here, understand your why. There are so many temptations, like I mentioned, out there, but when you really get to identify, not just say a goal, but actually why. Like, I want to go to Costa Rica. Why? Because I saw this amazing thing about whatever it might be, or I want to take my parents there, whatever it might be. Understanding your why in this as well too is going to allow you to save even more consistently. Mistake number 3. Let's talk about one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Waiting for the right time to start investing. Whether you've already started investing yet or not, this part is critical. And let me show you the impact of just getting started early with a very simple example. Imagine we have 2 friends here, Sam and Jamie. Sam begins investing at 20 years old, putting away $200 a month with an 8% annual return. This is very possible here. Jamie decides to wait and starts at 30 years old, but she doubles her contribution to $400 a month, thinking that she's gonna catch up to Sam. You'd think doubling the contributions would help Jamie get ahead, right? Nope. Wrong. Let's break down the numbers here. Sam, by investing $200 a month from 20 to 65, will end up roughly with $878,000. Jamie, even though she's investing twice as much as Sam, only has $587,000 by age 65. That's because she's missed out on 10 years of compounding interest, which makes a massive difference over time. The difference here, $290,000. And that's just from starting 10 years earlier with smaller contributions. Boom. That's the power of starting early. If you haven't started investing yet, the best time to start is now. And if you've already started but tend to skip months because you'd rather spend on something else, just think about the potential money you're missing out on. You want your money to work for you, not against you. And the best way to do this is through consistent long-term investing. If you haven't gotten started yet, I recommend checking out my top brokerage choice in the link in the description below. But I want to mention there are a few things you'll want to take care of before you start investing. I have a whole video on this, so check it out up here, or it's in the link in the description as well too. Now, here's where I see a lot of people in our generation make a big mistake. Following the trends when it comes to investing. And yes, I've been there too. We see something trending online, maybe a specific stock or a flashy investment everybody's hyping up, and we jump on it thinking it's going to the moon. But here's the thing. Investing in stocks Like that is pretty much gambling. It's not necessarily the best strategy unless you have that fun money to do so. The stock market comes with risks, but if you're playing it safe and sticking to proven strategies over the past 100 years, you can still make solid returns. Take the S&P 500, for example, which historically has returned 7 to 10% a year. Compare that to a hyped up stock that goes up to come right back down because it was all buzz and there wasn't really any substance. If you want to actually secure your financial future, stick to ETFs, index funds, and maxing out your retirement contributions. Trust me, you won't regret it when you look back in 10, 20, or even 30 years from now. So now that we covered the importance of starting your investment journey early, let's transition to another huge money mistake, but it can be a game changer if used wisely. Not using credit cards for every purchase. This is a huge one. I got my first credit card at 18, the Discover It student card, but back then I wasn't really aware of all the perks that it offered. Like most people, I thought credit cards were just for emergencies or big purchases. I definitely wasn't an expert, but I am now when it comes to maximizing those benefits. Fast forward to today, I've learned a lot and I've made some awesome friends who are experts in this whole credit card space. Shout out Ask Sebi on YouTube and the Credit Brothers on Instagram and TikTok. Now I have at least 8 credit cards in my wallet, each serving a different purpose, whether it's for travel, groceries, dining out, gas, or cash back on everyday spending. And let me tell you, credit cards are a game changer when it comes to building your credit, earning rewards, and getting perks that debit cards really just don't offer all that often. When people hear about credit cards, I know it can be overwhelming with so many options out there. But if you are responsible and will pay off your balance in full each month, you need a credit card. Think about all the money you're already spending on groceries, gas, eating out, bills, and even rent. When that money is coming straight from your debit card or checking account or even cash, you're not getting anything back for it. But if you put those same purchases on a rewards credit card, you could be earning cash back, points, or miles every time you swipe or touch now. And let's break down why credit cards are so powerful for everyday purchases. Building credit. Using a credit card regularly and paying it off each month in full helps build up your credit score. And a higher credit score can mean lower interest rates on loans or better offers in the future. It also protects you. Not many people think about this one, but credit cards also can protect you. Credit cards often come with fraud protection and purchase protection. If there's an issue with the purchase, it's way easier to dispute charges, especially with credit cards like American Express. And for most cards, they offer zero liability for fraud. Travel perks. Credit cards can help you score free flights, hotel upgrades, and even lounge access. And trust me, once you've had a taste of those travel rewards, it's way hard to go back. Rental payments. Yes, you can even pay your rent with some credit cards and earn points or cash back. For example, cards like Bill allow you to earn rewards on rent payments without any transaction fees. Now, here's a mistake that I've made though, and I see a lot of people make it all the time too. If you have a credit card with an annual fee and you're thinking about canceling it, before you do that, take a second and make a note when your card renews. You can often call the company and ask for a retention offer before canceling. Many times they'll offer you hefty bonus points or perks to keep you as a customer. So don't cancel that card without checking if you can get something in return. Another thing to note here too is that if there's a hefty annual fee, consider switching out to a credit card within the same financial institution that doesn't have an annual fee. This way you get to keep that credit history and it won't ding your credit score. And if you're wondering what credit cards suit you best for your lifestyle and spending habits, DM me on Instagram the word wallet wins and take my free credit card quiz to find the perfect card match for you. So we've talked about how using credit cards can help you build credit and earn rewards, but here's another mistake that I made early on. Not becoming an authorized user on my parents' credit card. If you're still under 18 watching this video, good. God, you are so far ahead. Becoming an authorized user on your parents' credit card can be a game changer. When you're an authorized user, the positive credit history that your parents have created is added to your credit report, which can give your score a boost before you even have your own card. It's a great way to build credit early on without having the full responsibility of having a credit card in your name. I wish I had taken advantage of this sooner. I wish I knew what it was, because it would have set me up with a much stronger credit score right from the get-go. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something that I've learned the hard way. Prioritizing materialistic items over experiences. Over the years, I used to spend a lot on the latest tech, a lot on Amazon, shoes, luxury handbags. Yes, it felt great for a little while, but here's the thing. After a couple of months, that excitement wore off and I was already looking for the next big thing. I realized that people get far more satisfaction out of investing in experiences rather than just stuff that clutters up our closets, and then we eventually are like, oh my God, this is too much. Let me just give it away. Think about it. A concert or a weekend trip with friends, to me at least, brings way more long-lasting happiness than buying a new pair of shoes that'll end up getting dirty and sit in the closet. And studies back this up. Experiences lead to greater happiness because we remember them. They don't fade away like novelty items. I'm all about making memories. And when it's going to a concert, a spontaneous road trip, or even just spending quality time with the fam, experiences create moments that last a lifetime. Like, I am so happy I just went to a family reunion with cousins that I've never even met before on my dad's side. Yes, it was a big hike. It was on the West Coast. I am from the East Coast, but those memories, they're gonna bring me more joy than any material item could really much ever have. Plus, experiences don't add clutter to your life, and you won't find yourself needing to clean out your closet every few months. This mindset shift, focusing on experiences over things, has truly been a game changer for me, and I know it can be for you too. And one of the final biggest mistakes that I have made is not taking advantage of tax-advantaged accounts. This one cost me a ton of money by not doing it sooner, and I don't want you to make the same mistake here. I'm talking about not using tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, Roth IRAs, or HSAs, which a lot of people forget about. These are some of the most powerful tools you can use to grow your wealth tax-free or tax-deferred. And here's where I really missed the boat for a long time. Since I run my own business, I didn't know that you could set up a 401k for myself. Yep, even as a business owner, I could have been reaping those benefits earlier. Same thing with an HSA. Now, if you're an employee at a company, it's very common for your employer to offer you a 401k, but you've got to take advantage of it, especially if they offer a 401k match. This is essentially free money they're offering to match what you put into your retirement account. So for example, let's say the company offers a match of up to 6% of your paycheck. If you contribute 6% of your income to your 401k, they're gonna match it, doubling up your contribution. Free money. So if you make $50,000 a year and contribute 6%, that's $3,000 a year from you, and your employer adds another $3,000. That's an easy $6,000 going into your account just like that. And the best part here, these contributions grow tax deferred depending on your type of account, whether it's a Roth 401k or a traditional 401k, meaning you won't pay taxes on that money until you withdraw it during your retirement, potentially saving you thousands in taxes over the years. Another mistake I see a lot of people make is thinking that they're contributing to their 401k every month, but not actually choosing their investments. When you put money into a 401k or even just generally an investment account, you have options to invest in things like index funds, bonds, or mutual funds. If you don't choose where to invest, your contributions may just sit in a low interest cash account, not growing you much money at all. So be sure to review your plan's options and choose investments that align with your long-term financial goals. So How do you get started? If you're not sure what's available to you, go ahead and ask your HR department or whoever manages your benefits. Ask them about the 401k program, if there's a match, and how you can enroll in select investments. Trust me, taking these steps now is gonna set you up for priceless financial success in the future. All right, those are the top money mistakes I've made so you don't have to, and hopefully you can learn from them and avoid losing a lot of money like I did. Whether it's starting your investment journey early, using credit cards strategically, or taking full advantage of tax advantaged accounts, these small changes can make a huge difference in your financial future. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, drop a comment on what topics you would like to see next. Also, don't forget to check out the description below for some of my favorite money tools and recommendations to help you level up your financial game. Thanks for watching, Priceless Peeps. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace.